Welcome to the Aunty Shav Says So podcast, where wisdom meets real talk and self-improvement takes center stage. I'm your host, Aunty Shav, and today I'm not joined by my co-host and my nephew, Fari, but I'm still here to guide you through the twists and turns of personal growth, wellness, and living your best life. Together, we bring diverse perspectives, hard-earned lessons, actionable advice, and unfiltered truths about what it takes to grow, thrive, and become the best version of yourself. Whether we're talking about overcoming challenges, building healthier relationships, or celebrating those small but so powerful wins, this is the space for anyone ready to take ownership of their life. So pull up a seat, lean in, and let's talk about becoming the person you were meant to be. Because when Aunty Shav says so, you know it's worth listening to. Right now, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about doing things scared and showing up whether there's an audience or not. And let me tell you something. This, amongst the next couple of episodes, are real personal to me because too many people are sitting on dreams, gifts, businesses, callings, ideas, and not because they're incapable, but simply because they are afraid. Afraid to fail, afraid to look silly, afraid that nobody in their community, none of their friends, none of their family will show up, afraid that no one will clap for them. But here is the truth. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. And oftentimes, people confuse fear with a warning that they shouldn't go forward. They confuse fear with no. We all have been conditioned to believe that if we're nervous about something, it must mean we're not ready. But fear does not mean that you're underqualified or unqualified. It simply means that you're stretching, right? And anything that stretches will scare you. Your first time speaking up in a meeting, you may not feel like you have the right words to say. Your first time posting your work, you may be terrified of how people will interpret you. Your first time setting a boundary, God help us, I know we've all been there. Or your first time having to start over. And this goes out to my friends who have moved to new cities, etc. Growth feels like exposure before it feels like expansion. So what do, right? How do you actually move when you're fearful or you're scared? Think about a scary movie, right? It's either fight or flight. Because knowing fear is normal is one thing, but knowing what to do, knowing how to act in that moment is an absolute another story. And the only way to solve this is to move while scared. Functioning in your fear, in your awareness, anyway. That's it. We wait for confidence like it's a prerequisite, and it's not. Confidence is just the byproduct of all of the work that you're already doing. Nobody feels ready in the beginning. You show your readiness by showing up repeatedly. So let me break this down for you. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in spite of fear. There were many times where I have stepped into rooms literally shaking, sweating, having to go to the bathroom a million times. For my friends with anxiety, you already know. Times I recorded content wondering if anybody would listen. Times I spoke on stages, led events, questioning if I was enough. But I still showed up. And every time I showed up scared, my capacity grew. So it was like building a muscle for me. The more I acted despite a fear, the less power it had over me. In this case, the more you act despite fear, the less power it has over you. And let's normalize something. Your hands may very well shake. Your voice might even crack. You might feel like you're overthinking things during and surely afterwards. But regardless of the facts, do it anyway. Because the alternative is you deciding to stay stuck You decided to stay in a bubble, in a box. And stagnation costs more than embarrassment ever will. Now let's talk about the part that most people do not like. Showing up when nobody's watching. When nobody can sign off and verify you. Because a lot of people don't quit because they're scared. They quit because no one has clapped fast enough. You posted once, you got low engagement, and now you're questioning your purpose. You don't feel like you can do this thing. You hosted an event and it had a small turnout, and now you're doubting your calling, you're doubting your audience, you're doubting the support levels. And here's the one that we all do, right? You start the gym, nobody notices, and now you're discouraged. You feel the stretch in your pants. You feel the extra space, but no one else has said anything, right? So you're doubting if you need to continue. But the early stages of anything are quiet. That's the part that social media doesn't show. People see the spotlight and not the empty room. The spotlight reveals what you've practiced in private. If you only show up when there's applause, you'll never last long enough to grow. Discipline cannot be dependent on attention. Discipline cannot be dependent on attention. Are you still committed when it's just you? When it's just you and God? Are you still practicing when there's no recognition? Are you still building when nobody validates it? Because who you are in private determines what you can handle in the public. Your audience will come, but you have to be ready when they do. And readiness is built in the challenge, in the gutter, in the work. And truthfully, if we're being honest, I believe some people tie their identity to that external response. You're waiting on the like, you're waiting on the click, you're waiting on the response. And that is dangerous. Because if you need people and if you need applause to believe in yourself, that silence will break you. You have to decide who you are before anyone else confirms it. If you're a writer, write. Even if nobody reads it yet. If you're a speaker, speak. Even if it's just to 10 people. If you're an entrepreneur, build. Even if sales are slow. Continue building. Your identity comes first and results follow. And let me say this clearly. Small beginnings do not mean that you have a small calling. Sometimes the season isn't about visibility. It's just about development. It's about what you're building. It's about laying that foundation. And you're not being ignored. You're being built. You're being refined. You're being, So here are 3 practical things you can do all of this week. Number 1, you're going to name that fear. You cannot work on what you will not identify. So 2, you're going to be specific. Are you afraid of the failure, judgment, rejection? Your clarity reduces intimidation. 3, you're going to take 1 uncomfortable action. Not 10, just 1. Send the email, make the call, post the video, register your business. Detach yourself from that immediacy. You don't need immediate results. Focus on consistency, not reaction. And here's a mindset shift. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I grow? Failure is feedback. Silence is training. Everything else is stretching. And with that in mind, let me leave you with this. You don't need to feel fearless to move forward. You don't need a crowd to validate your commitment. And you do not need applause to prove your assignment. You're assigned by God and God only. So do it scared, Show up anyway. Because every time you honor your growth over your comfort, you become stronger. And one day, the same thing that once terrified you will feel organic, will feel like a second layer of skin. Not because your fear disappeared, but because you decided that it doesn't get the opportunity to lead you or to tell your story. And that, my friend, is growth. So this week, I challenge you to show up even when it's quiet, especially if it's quiet. Because when Aunty Shav says so, you know it's worth listening to. All right, my loves, be blessed, have a wonderful week, and I look forward to connecting to you soon. Peace.